The red code splits the shift like a scream. I'm mid-suture on a miner with a lattice fracture when the station sirens bite into the air. Reactor adjacent, the pitch that shoves adrenaline straight into your palms, and the wall display floods with crimson text. Trauma priority. Sovereign protocol. My scrub team freezes. I don't. I seal the fracture, slap a regrowth patch across his clavicle, and sprint for OR3 as ceiling rails bloom open and med drones pour like angry bees. The doors iris and the temperature drops a degree. The room hums. New Lexington's reactor is a living animal in the walls. An old one, lungs wheezing but loyal. And today, it has a cough you can feel through your molars. My badge chirps for biometric confirm. I palm it without looking. The far panel scrolls Dominion legalese about liability in 3 languages. None of it matters. A human body on a table matters. And she's on the table. I know her before the Dominion crest animates on the holo screen. Mara Val. The ruler we're supposed to call sovereign when the cams are on. 27. Wears decisions like an oxygen mask. Feeds showed her cutting treaties, not tendons, with the kind of stillness that terrifies parliamentarians and calms crowds. Here she's pale with pain and somehow more composed than the rest of us, as if someone tilted gravity in her favor. Dr. Cole, a guard snaps, because titles protect the fragile. I'll treat the patient, I say, moving, gloving, not looking up. All of you will get out of my light. He starts to object. Mara lifts 2 fingers without opening her eyes. The room obeys. Her right shoulder sits wrong beneath torn synthweave. Lateral dislocation. The joint is a round, stubborn knot under skin, slick with a shimmer of coolant. The air smells like ozone braided with antiseptic. I glance at vitals. Elevated. Steady. SpO2, fine. And at the Dominion crest, ticking like a metronome in the corner, as if my hands play to their clock. I'm aware of my own heartbeat. Too fast. I force it down. 2 deep breaths. The mask warms with it. Hi, I say, because the first note sets the song. I'm Evan. We're going to set your shoulder. It'll be quick. Her lashes lift, stormed glass eyes. They catalog me. Scrubs, burned-in calluses, night shift stubble, the thin white scar on my thumb from a bio-seal that blew a year ago. I feel weighed and, strangely, approved. Proceed, she says. I lock a med brace around her upper arm. She doesn't flinch. Skin temperature a shade high. Sweat purls at her temple like glitter salt at low tide. My palm finds her scapula. Look at me, I tell her. She does. Breathe in, I say. Hold. On the 4. Her lips press once against pain. Count, Dr. Cole. 1, 2, 3, 4. I roll the humerus forward and up. Sharp motion. Clean. A wet, decisive sound as the joint slides home. The crack isn't bone. It's the universe resettling by a millimeter. She doesn't cry out. Her pupils widen, then narrow. She stares at me like I'm a fixed point in a room that's trying to drift. For a heartbeat, the big animal in the wall stops coughing. Or maybe I stop hearing it. Exhale, I say, and her breath ghosts across my knuckles. My hand is still on her skin. I don't pull it away. She slips. It happens as the bed auto-adjusts and drops a centimeter. Her balance goes. My body moves before my brain. 1 foot forward, 1 hand at her waist. She's lighter than I expect and stronger than anyone looks laid out on steel. Her fingers hook my sleeve and hold. A hitch in the perfect script of her day. For a second, we aren't anything with capital letters. Just 2 people saving each other from a stupid fall. Then we remember ourselves. Then, we don't let go immediately. Good, I say, too quietly. We're good. I ease the brace tighter, let med gel seep warmth along the capsule, set a slow anti-inflammatory drip. Drones circle, casting clean light. One hovers with a lullaby beep that pediatrics swears calms adults, too. I register every micro-action. The flex of her throat as she swallows, the whisper of her breath catching and settling, the way her left hand lies open, ignorant of rank. She looks smaller without armor. That's an illusion. Command radiates off her like heat. "Distract me," she says, like a test and a truce. All right. I keep my voice low and even, the way you talk to frightened children and sovereign rulers. You ever try station coffee on a place like this? Whole bean arrives frozen in carbon peel. They thaw it wrong, it tastes like a tire. I print my own grounds on night shift. Don't tell supply. Her mouth bends, almost a smile. Contraband. Survival. I rotate gently, check range. We get miners from the dark belts who drink battery acid and call it tea. They still complain about Cafe 12 here. The reactor. She asks it like she's asking about a person. She's coughing. We'll fix it. The floor trembles as if to disagree. How did you? Injury occurred during a systems inspection, a guard recites, sterile as a receipt. Her eyes stay on mine. The corner of her mouth has a tiny scar. It moves when she lies. It doesn't now. My name? She says suddenly, like she's testing whether I'll use the title. Mira. It feels like breaking a law and finding oxygen on the other side. A breath catches. Then, Evan. The way she says it isn't credential. It's engraving. I feel the strokes etch along my ribs. A status tone climbs. Someone curses in Valon out in the corridor. Thorns and silver language. The monitor spins data. I should be thinking about protocols and the Dominion's habit of putting patients under guard and doctors under contract. Instead, I'm cataloging tiny human things. Heat in my ears. The warmth at her waist under my palm. How her pupils notch smaller when she tracks my hands. You led the room, she says. Not praise. Observation. Like she's noting a tool she might use or spare. Without rank. Rank isn't how hands move, I say, and realize I've said it out loud. She watches me as if I've offered something equal to an oath. On the wall, the crest winks, eager to remind us this is not private. A new siren threads the air, higher, hungrier. My team shifts in the doorway. The anesthetist mouths, "Are we safe?" I nod once. We're done here, I say. You need rest. Immobilization for 24. No lifts. No. I nearly say thrown and swallow it. No strain. Your name, she says again. I shouldn't. But I do. Evan Cole. Her lips shape it once, then again. Softer, like testing the weight of a coin she intends to keep. The second time warms something behind my sternum I thought night shift had killed. The guard clears his throat. Sovereign. She doesn't look away. Doctor, she says. Formal again, but with an edge that wasn't there at the start. You will be recalled for follow-up. I'll come whether you recall me or not, it blurts out, unwise as an open window. That's how medicine works? The tiny scar twitches. Rebellion no one else would see. Noted. I press my hand to the sterilizer and watch blue light try to erase the imprint of her. It doesn't. The precise circumference of her shoulder under my palm remains. So does the fixed point she found in me. So does the fixed point I found, looking back. New Lexington is a compromise in orbit. Corporate docks, union housing like stacked honeycombs, elevator cars that crawl up the habitat ring, while vendors in mag socks sell algae buns through the mesh. Kids race maintenance drones for creds. The day cams make it cheerful. The night smells like hot coolant and hope. I used to believe in beginnings. The station taught me to believe in procedures instead. Between breathe and hold still, something thin and real sparks anyway. Respect, gratitude, and a pull that makes my ears heat like a rookie's. It's ridiculous. It's undeniable. The big animal in the walls coughs, clears its throat, listens. When Mara says my name the third time, quieter, as if for a second the room belongs to neither of us. I let the thought stand in me without defense. It's a beginning. The first blast doesn't sound like an explosion. It sounds like a door slamming on a giant hand. The station jumps. The ceiling seams, spit dust. The surgical light shivers and steadies. A brave, stupid flower. Alarms rip open in layers. Hull breach, thermal spike, reactor cough gone hoarse. The guards try to move as a single shield, but Mara is already off the table, sling tight, jaw tighter. A protocol officer shoulders in, breathless with hierarchy. Secure sector for the Sovereign, medical personnel dismissed. Medical personnel, I say, are just beginning. I'm already pulling my portable chest. Triage patches, sealants, a roll-up diagnostic that talks to stubborn hardware, and jacking my wrist feed into the public channel. The feed throws back a swarm of calls. Burns on deck 8, vacuum kiss on a loading collar, 2 dock hands lost between doors that thought they were mouths. Mara's gaze knifes through the room, lands on me. With me, she says. It isn't a question, and it isn't a command in the way I've heard commands used. It's a vector. You. Here. Now. Her left hand finds mine with zero ceremony, like she's picking up a tool. Her skin is cool. The sling brushes my forearm as we move. We hit the corridor into a wind of grit. The blast stripped paint off the bulkheads and dusted the air with metal. I taste iron. Maintenance drones barrel past, red LEDs glaring like angry pupils. A child's shoe lies upside down by the wall, its smart laces blinking for a foot that is no longer inside it. My stomach goes cold. We press into a recessed service bay. It's meant for carts, not people. We fit anyway. She's close enough that the shoulder I set bumps my chest on the tremors. Her breath is steady in that stubborn way people have when steadiness is the one thing left to own. The station channel is chaos. We need a lock on O2 valves. No, not that manifold. Gods, who gave Doc 3 admin. I cancel 3 loops, seize the priority flag, and push my voice into the center. Med and engineering. This is Cole, Aegis Ward. Listen up. We're doing a cross-team patch. Valen responders. Spin your medfoam to human tolerances. Cut the caustic carrier by 6%. Humans, if a Valen tells you to step back, step back. They smell faults before your fingers do. Doc 3, stop cycling the latch. You're making a bellows. Seal it and breathe shallow until the green. My feed lights with pushback. An executive from corporate ops appears as a pop-up throat clearing. Doctor, this channel is for authorized. It is now, I say, and mute him. I route drones to the hot spots, reroute power around a relay nest that's probably older than me, open a patchwork clinic in a freight hold, and tell anybody with a shirt to rip it into slings. The map of New Lexington cranes open in my mind. The honeycomb housing, the spines of transport tubes, the places that breathe and the ones that only pretend. Mara watches, eyes flicking like she's tracking a battle map. Twice someone tries to peel me away. Earthman out of sight. And twice she steps into the space they make with a tilt of her chin that says, ruin. Her uninjured shoulder blocks, redirects, commands without touching. The guards recalibrate. Protocol tries to regrow around us like frost. She puts her hand on it and it melts. You're rewriting procedures on the fly, she murmurs. They were stale. People die of stale. That is an argument, she says, and a policy. Then draft it. Her mouth almost curves. Not now, I tell my pulse. Not here. A second blast rolls under us. The deck rattles as if a giant is shaking crumbs out of the station. The lights blink, fall to a dusk the color of old rain. I feel the air change, pressure shiver, temperature snag. My body knows before the readout tells me. A seal somewhere is losing the argument. Mara moves. She doesn't shove me. She simply crafts the space where I will go, and I find myself there. Behind her, inside the V of her body and the wall. The recess suddenly feels like a different room. Roof lower, breath louder. "While I live," she says into the dark between alarms, "they won't touch you." It's not poetry. It's a contract you sign with your blood already on the page. Her voice is close to my ear. I think of the tiny scar at her mouth and wonder what signed it. "Then hold on to me," I say, before my fear can measure the sentence. I turn my palm, and she laces her fingers through mine. No title. No spectacle. Heat answers heat. Her pulse is quick and centralized, like a small star under skin. The sling creaks softly. The guard across the corridor pointedly studies the opposite wall. The station coughs again, then clears its throat, offended at its own drama. We move as one organism down the hall. My voice keeps working the channel, an extra tongue for the station. If your patch shrieks, it's unhappy. Don't soothe it. Kill power. Try again. Valon med teams. Human lungs hate your vapor analgesic mix. Run it through the blue filter. Humans. If a Valen offers you a black lozenge, that is not candy, that is death. Don't be brave, be boring. "It helps," she says. "What does?" "You saying it like it's obvious?" Mara answers. "People want a tone to borrow." "Take it," I say, and she does, switching to the command net, translating my medicine into Dominion steel. When a mid-level officer barks that the Sovereign must be escorted to a bunker, she cuts him off with 3 words that burn hotter than the blast. My bunker moves. We pass a viewport where the planet is a patient jewel and the debris field glitters like bad confetti. A tug skates past, towing something that was once a shuttle. In the distance, a mining cutter burns slow and mean. I want to sit down, just drop where I am and feel the floor. Instead, I walk and count breaths. Mine, hers, the station's. 3 animals, none consenting to die today. In the first triage bay, the air stinks of polymer and copper. A Valon nurse with silvered gills is bandaging a human's thigh with webs of cool, living thread. The human tries to tip a cred chip into her palm. She stares as if he's offered a seashell. I slap a code sticker on his wrist. "You'll live. Drink when you're told. If you stand up, I'll tie you down." He beams like I said he's beautiful. People are weird. People are gorgeous. Mara follows and does nothing royal. She steadies IV's stands with her hip, holds a child's head while I seal a scalp wound, lifts a biobed with one hand when the auto hinge fails. When a Dominion aide starts ordering my team like their carts, she steps in so fast the air pops. "Touch his people," she says, "and I'll have you writing apologies to their bones." "Your Highness," he stammers. "Apologize to them instead." A power surge flickers through our makeshift ward. The backup lights stutter. Somewhere above us, the reactor exhales a long, uncertain breath. I imagine its heart. A bundle of glows, coils wound like prayers. A math song that doesn't forgive a wrong note. "Cole," says engineering, tight with barely contained panic. "We've got a throttling lag on the secondaries, and I swear the monitor is lying to me." "It is," I say, "by 2.4. It was never recalibrated after last winter's cutover. Trust the manual gauge until I get you a patch. Bleed heat through the waste radiator you hate. It's ugly but hungry." "How did you? I'm from here," I say, and the channel goes quiet for a beat that feels like respect, or maybe just relief. We push deeper, a corridor where the grit is thicker. You can taste the ship's teeth. The station sounds like a choir of cracked bells. Mara's shoulder brushes mine, steadying as much as it asks to be steadied. "You're not afraid," she says. "I'm busy." That's an answer and a deflection. "I'm terrified," I correct. "But terror has bad hands." "What kind of hands does calm have?" "Clean ones. Fast ones." We stop at a junction where protocol wants to split us. She up to the secure lift, me down into the guts. A wall screen blooms with her crest, instructing itself to be obeyed. I watch her face count the losses we'll take if we part. I know, because the same numbers try to write themselves across my tongue. "Your guards," I begin, "are already where I need them," she says, and squeezes my fingers once, like a nod for the body. "You keep the living alive. I'll keep the dying from multiplying." "Deal," I say. My mouth is dry. "Mara." She steps closer in that narrow slice of not quite private air between alarms. Our foreheads almost touch. The station trembles, as if listening hard. "If there is an after to this hour," she says, "I will owe you a coffee that doesn't taste like a tire." "You'll owe me nothing," I say, "but I'll take the coffee." The deck shivers again, less like a slap, more like a shudder. She pivots, puts her body between the ceiling seam and my skull, as a panel drops a screw. The screw pings off her sling. She doesn't blink. "While I live," she repeats, as if the first vow needed an echo to fix it in the metal. "Then hold on," I repeat. And we do. For one more breath. One more borrowed second. Then we let go, because people are calling, and our names are keys in the doors of this hour. Coup night tastes like burnt copper and old rain. The station howls on every deck, then falls to a hush that isn't peace, just the breath a storm takes to reload. I thread through half-lit corridors with a med case in one hand and a crate of warm blankets in the other. On New Lexington, comfort is triage, too. The backup bay is a forgotten pocket shaped like a palm. Windows face a pale nebula that looks like milk poured into black water. The room holds a decommissioned tug, a crate of obsolete seals, a kettle that refuses to die, and silence of the sturdy kind. My shoulder grazes the tug's old hull. "Don't squeal," I tell it. It doesn't. I set the blankets down, click the kettle on, and lay out my tools. The lights keep low by habit. This bay learned to hide during the last corporate audit, and never unlearned it. I send a quiet ping to the mednet. No answer. Either the network's in pieces, or everyone is too loud to hear me. Fine. Quiet is a kind of permission. Footsteps. Steady. I don't turn until I feel the temperature of the air shift, that subtle change around a body used to moving through rooms that make way. She arrives without armor, in a thermal jacket zipped to the throat. Ozone clings to her like a memory. The sling is neat, my work, but the cloth beneath shows burnt crescents, where a shock web kissed her. Her hair is tied back with something that looks like a strip of torn staging tape, and, knowing her, probably is. "Your Grace," I say, because I know it annoys her when I pretend at her titles. "Doctor," she returns, same tone, game recognized. The corner of her mouth acknowledges both moves. I point at a crate. "Sit. Your shoulder owes me a quiet exam." "I bring you quieter work," she says, and opens her palm. 2 metallic petals rest there, black with faint blue veins. I blink. "Those were inside you?" "On me," she corrects. "Under the jacket. Dominion shock dampers. The rebels used resonance charges. My guards used me. I was the best buffer in reach." "You let them?" "I ordered them," she says, and watches my face like she's checking the structural integrity of a bridge after an earthquake. "You disapprove." "I think you're alive," I say, "and I'll keep that true first. Then I'll have opinions." "That is tolerable." She sits, lifts her chin so I can see the edge of bruise on her jaw. "Proceed." I unzip the jacket. The burns are old new, glossy and angry, I glove and apply thin sheets of region film. The gel inside smells like cold mint and engine oil. Her breath snags once, then evens. I run my scanner over the shoulder, watch the numbers resolve like a shy constellation, and feel something unclench in my chest. Clean set. No hidden fracture. Thank every indifferent star. The kettle clicks off with comic cheer. I pour 2 mugs. This time the water tastes like metal you forgive. She takes the cup with her left hand, watches the steam rise as if it's briefing her. The nebula out the window drifts, a slow, ancient dancer. They tried to push you to a bunker, I say. You made the station the bunker. Doors are for people who want one exit, she says. I prefer several. I noticed. I hand her a strip of protein bread. She regards it like an object of study, then eats it with absolute competence. Dominion rulers, I learn, are efficient chewers. What did you bring me? She asks, head tilted toward my other case. Pain patch, sealants, and half a bottle of contraband honey. Honey? Bees, I say. Small earth creatures that declare war on flowers and win. The product tastes like summer pretending not to end. Smuggling flowers into orbit. She sips. You are braver than you look. I'm exactly as brave as I look, I say. Very average, boring in crisis, useful under fluorescent lighting. Boring, she repeats, like it's a new alloy. Her gaze shifts from the nebula to my hand. You touched me like I wasn't expensive. You're not, I say. You're important. Explain the difference. Price is what someone else says you cost, I answer. Importance is what breaks if you're gone. I smooth another film across a burn. She doesn't move. I've seen rooms fall apart when a janitor doesn't show. I know, she says softly. We call them keepers. The system calls them replaceable. The system calls everyone replaceable. You don't. Not tonight. Her eyes cut to the window. Replacements make rebellions cheap. I prefer my rebellions expensive, so they count. We let the quiet sit. The station's distant shutters have drained to uneasy, intermittent huffs. Somewhere, a child laughs. Pure, shocked laughter. The kind that arrives on the far edge of fear. It rips something open in me I didn't know I had closed. What scares you? I ask, before self-protection can redirect me. Predictable answers, she says, then decides that isn't enough for the room we're building. Stagnation. Debt disguised as loyalty. A room where choosing is an illusion, and you're applauded for applauding. Assets numbered instead of named, I say. Patients do that to themselves when they're certain of dying. Do you number yourself, Evan? I try not to, I say. On good weeks. What is a good week? In this city, I say, and then smile at the word. New Lexington is a kind of city, a ring pretending to be a town. A week where nobody dies of someone else's schedule. She drinks that like the coffee. You are political, she observes. I am practical, I correct. Politics is what happens when practicality gets scared. She watches me wrap her forearm. The burns there are smaller, the shape of electrical vines fleeing a wrist. My hands know what to do. It's my heart that's new to this work, the way it keeps trying to stand closer, as if warmth were a tool. Ask me something, she says. You keep answering questions I didn't ask. All right. I tape the final edge, peel off the glove. When were you happy without witnesses? Her eyes startle. The question lands like a skipped stone. Once, she says. A field lesson on gear. We slept in a seismic cradle with the sensors off. The stars looked like pins holding the night to the sky. My curator was furious in the morning. Your mother? My overseer, she says, which is not the same thing. She called it softness. I called it. She looks for the word and distrusts all the ones that line up. Optional. Optional, I repeat. turning it over. Do you ever choose optional now? I am choosing it, she says, very simply, and the room believes her. The pause stretches. The tug's hull pops as it cools. The nebula smears itself into a new shape, slow as tide. We stand as close as in the corridor, but now there are no witnesses, no duties. She reaches, not with the hand that commands rooms, but with the one that remembers a seismic cradle. Her fingers touch my wrist. My pulse does what pulses do when they feel seen. If there were no titles or wars, I ask, and my voice comes out lower than I plan, where would you go? Where choosing is allowed, she says, stepping closer. Her breath is warm, medicine and mint, and the ghost of ozone. And where it matters. Here, I say, because I can only be honest. It matters to me. The kiss is careful. Not a conquest, not a demand. A test of systems under new load. She tastes like heat that learned restraint, like vows trying out their walking shoes. My hand lifts before permission can draft a memo. It lands at her jaw, thumb just below the tiny scar. Her exhale shivers into my mouth and then steadies. The kettle clicks again as the plate compensates. The station hum lowers like an animal settling. We part before the room can decide for us. She looks at me with her whole face. It feels like the first honest thing anyone has done in days. I will not make you a transaction, she says. I know how to buy things. I refuse to buy this. Good, I say. Bad rates tonight. She almost laughs. The almost is a promise. I recheck the shoulder. Her sling is secure. The numbers smile, as much as numbers ever do. I print a small patch and press it to the inside of her wrist. She studies it warily, as if it might be a clause. Heartbeat helper, I say. Not a drug, a rhythm. If panic pulls you, this will tug back. You make leashes. I make anchors, I say. We don't tie. We hold. Hold me then, she says. And it's not a test. It's a sentence built for two bodies. I do. Not hard. Not long. Exactly enough for a breath to learn a new shape. When we step apart, the room feels bigger, not smaller. The nebula looks closer. On the bay door, an alert winks amber. Council traffic, encrypted too brightly. She glances at it, then at me. The choice is in her face, and for once it isn't heavy. It's exact. In 5 minutes they will ask me to be a weapon with a crown, she says. And I will be a person with a name, she answers. Who chooses? Then I choose too, I say. I choose you, inconveniently. Inconveniently, she repeats, learning the taste. That sounds like freedom. Expensive freedom, I say, and we both nod like we've already paid. Somewhere, a distant panel slams back into place. The station takes a deeper breath. The kettle cools. The tug's paint flakes onto the floor like old snow. We look out at that pale nebula, a milk spill across black, and I think of fields on worlds I've never seen, and of seismic cradles, and of optional things you defend with your life. It's not safe, I say, because one truthful sentence always demands a second. It's not supposed to be, she answers, and steps into the next minute with me. Morning arrives like an apology it can't keep. The station's night lights lift to a dim, careful day, and the air smells like wiped metal and the sweet tang of overworked filters. I'm folding gauze into a field kit when the council message hits every wall at once. Text hard, voice harder. End the Aegis. On New Lexington, Aegis means the mednet that refuses to ask for titles at the door. Today, it means me. I don't argue with an announcement. I check the battery on my roll-up diagnostic, slot 2 sealant canisters, and count my syringes like prayers with needles. A shadow cuts the doorway, a Dominion minister with shoulders like a filing cabinet, and eyes that never learned how to be wrong. 3 guards take up too much space behind him, which is the point. Dr. Cole, he says, as if the name is a mistake. For stability, you will surrender yourself to secure holding until the sovereign concludes transition. The council will provide accommodations. Does the council provide lungs? I ask, and without looking up. We still have 16 cases of smoke damage and a kid who thinks breathing is a rumor. Stability, he repeats, as if the word wipes noses and floors. Mira is 2 steps behind them. She shouldn't have to walk to catch up with her own power, but politics makes everyone late. She looks like a sunrise that changed its mind. Bright edges, storm inside. The sling sits snug. The burns on her forearm are clean under film. The tiny scar at her mouth stands irresponsible guard over a truth. Evan, she says, and the minister flinches at my name in her voice. Your orders? He asks her, eager to be a good dog. My orders, she says, very clear, are that you stand down and breathe through this sentence. He waits, proud to be excellent at breath-holding. Breathe, she repeats. He obeys. It would be funny if it weren't a knife. The aegis has become a symbol, the minister says when he has air again. Symbols attract bullets. Remove the symbol. Remove the bullets, I say, and slide an extra battery into the kit. Cheaper in the long run. Fewer funerals to schedule. Mara's eyes flick to me, then to the guards, then to the door that leads to a corridor, that leads to a lift, that leads to a room where someone has already written my name on a line next to the words, secure holding. She is doing math. She is also doing something harder, refusing to turn me into math. Cole, murmurs a nurse at my shoulder. We can hide you in waste reclamation. Smell might kill you first, but at least you'll die free. I hate hiding, I say, and I hate how often it works. I put down the kit. If I stay, I am a trap with a pulse. If I run, I am a fuse with legs. I look at Mara. The room becomes a lens. Everything else smears. I'll go, I tell her, before she can be forced to say the word herself. If it keeps you safer, I'll walk into whatever cage they polished for me. Her face closes around a decision like a fist around a hot coin. No. Mira, the danger is mine, she says, and her voice is the exact pitch of a string pulled to music and not to break. The choice is mine. The minister clears his throat, eager to turn something human into a list. Sovereign, the council requires, she echoes. It isn't a question, and it isn't consent. It's a needle finding a vein. She steps past him into the hall, where the light falls sharp, and the air carries voices from a dozen rooms that all want her at once. She leaves a clean wake. I follow because I know tides. The corridor blooms bodies, engineers with ghosted eyes, union reps in orange vests, flecked with polymer, a Valen elder with silver gills and an apron that used to be white. A camera drone lurks high, pretending to be a lamp. Behind us, the minister hovers like paperwork with teeth. Someone shouts, "For stability," because nothing is real until you chant it. Mara stops. The hall, greedy for a scene, hushes. She stands in the middle of it. No armor, jacket plain, sling black, burns neat under film, and changes the gravity by existing. You want stability? She says, and the drone leans closer. Then understand the only law that holds. You cannot buy loyalty with fear, and you cannot harvest consent with a knife. The minister stiffens. Your Majesty, I choose him, she says, and the word hits the metal like a small earthquake. It's not a speech, it's an answer written where everyone can read it. I choose Evan Cole. He's not a symbol, he's a person. He's my aegis, and he stays under my protection as long as I breathe. It's astonishing how many ways a crowd can exhale. Relief, fury, calculations rearranging themselves like furniture. The Valon elder smiles like a slow blessing. The union reps look at their boots, which is what you do when hope embarrasses you. The minister recovers and reaches for law, like a drowning man reaches for a sword. For the record, he says tightly, the council will censure. Record this, Mara says, and for a flicker, her voice is the older thing inside her title, the one that made lions lie down and laws stand up. If the council touches him, I will consider it an act of war against my person, and I will win that war. The drone hums like a gnat that just discovered blood. I imagine 1,000 screens lighting with this hallway. I imagine 1,000 hands pausing over their morning tasks. My rib cage hurts like it grew wrong. I step up, an emergency of a man holding a very simple truth. Then I choose you, I say, and it barely sounds like me. All the way. No one applauds. It isn't that kind of movie. Instead, the station gives us its next demand. An alarm 3 corridors over. A hiss in the wall that means a seal is tired of working. A child calling mama like the word is a rope. Life, offended by declarations, insists we follow them up with work. Go, Mara says softly, without moving her eyes from the minister's. Take your kit. Take your heart, too. I already did, I say, and that earns me the tiniest twitch of her scar. We leave together, not slinking, not striding, moving like 2 consequences that teamed up. The guards form a wedge we don't ask for. She tilts her head, and the wedge becomes a circle that keeps us without owning us. We cross a mess hall that smells like salt protein and lost sleep. We pass a viewport where the pale planet turns like a slow coin. I slip my hand into hers because this is not protocol, and I want the opposite of protocol. Her fingers tighten once, exact and sure. Far dock, the one the corporate inspectors forget because it's ugly on camera. A shuttle waits with its panels scabbed in 3 colors and a birthmark of rust the size of a dinner plate. I love it on sight. The pilot is a woman with hair like she cut it herself, which she probably did, and a nameplate that says Coddy in letters made of tape. You paying? She asks, eyeing Mara with the indifference of someone who only believes in fuel and outcomes. With what? I say. With the part where we don't explode, Mara answers, and Coddy grins. Best coin I know. Behind us, the minister's footsteps collect like stormwater. He arrives with 2 new uniforms and a last attempt at being the kind of wall that walls believe in. Sovereign, he says, almost pleading now. Stability demands. Stability, she says, and looks back down the corridor like she's addressing a city and a camera and a god. You want it. Earn it. Stop hunting doctors. Start fixing seals. Feed your people before you feed your news. And you? He asks, already trying to phrase her defiance into a crime he can punish later. Me? She steps onto the shuttle ramp and turns, the slimmest stage, the widest room. I will build the kind of dominion where a choice like this isn't treason. Try to stop me. The ramp hums. The door begins to close. I can see the minister's mouth crafting a decree. The sound cuts off like a cable. Coddy snaps straps and toggles, shakes the shuttle like a hand waking a friend. I fall into the co-pilot seat because sitting is the only thing left I can do without shaking. Engines catch. The dock peels away. New Lexington rotates in the viewport, an old animal with a new breath. Mara's hand finds my knee, warm through fabric, not possessive, not proof. Presence. Scary, I say. Correct, she says. Hot, I add, because honesty is a muscle that grows when you use it. Also correct. Right, I say, and the last word settles into me like a tool in the drawer where it finally belongs. Behind us, titles and protocol, contracts and cages, walls that call themselves homes. Ahead, risk, exile, an uncharted route, and a map we'll make by walking it. in the middle seat between us, something thin and real that started between breathe and hold still, and refused to die under the weight of anyone else's need. The shuttle noses into the lane. Cody whistles low. Where to? Where choosing is allowed, Mara says. Copy that, Katie answers. Best kind of storm to fly into.